Not bad, right?
Resident Evil 4 2023 is a perfect reimagining of the original Resident Evil 4 that astounded us so much and took survival horror into a new direction: action horror. Before this review, I had never given a game a perfect score, simply because perfection doesn't really exist. And while that may be true, the Resident Evil 4 Remake, reimagining, however you prefer to label it, is a perfect example of where we need to go when it comes to Resident Evil. The Resident Evil 2 remake, although it was fantastic, was far from perfect, and the Resident Evil 3 remake was an actual spit in the face from Capcom. But this has redeemed them, and I now see a bright future coming when it comes to survival horror, when it comes to Resident Evil, when it comes to any of their franchises that they genuinely care about or want to remake or bring back from the dead. This is how it should be done, with grit and tone and texture, taking the gameplay to the next level to make it athletic and actually very fun to play. The gameplay specifically has been so viciously upgraded that I stand in awe that this is what they've accomplished. When we had to stand still to fire our weapon, when we had to stand in place to use our knife, it is simply astounding that this is the level of dedication Capcom has to actually producing a remake for their biggest crowd. The gameplay upgrade is only one of the satisfying pieces to the puzzle. This is presented in a magnificent way that I would have never expected Capcom to commit to, but they did it. After all, this is the next generation of Resident Evil. This is the perfect way to go when it comes to the texture, the grit, the tone, the intensity, the in-your-face relentlessness from the AI. When it comes to the environment itself, you're not hindered by it, you're compelled to explore it. It's a jungle gym of violence, and you have absolutely no reason to complain about the beauty that they have created here. From recreating environments that you're used to and you've known for years, and making them even better than they once were, to creating new environments that you have not expected to come forth when it comes to the current era of Capcom's Resident Evil remakes. They are all fascinating to explore and master when it comes to the craft of Leon's new athletic abilities with the knife, with all of his weaponry and gear intact that truly makes sense. This is a definitive edition of Resident Evil 4 that everyone deserves to play and enjoy. As I've mentioned that the presentation of this game is truly awe-inspiring and magnificent, I must specifically point out that the graphics themselves are some of the best I've ever seen, and this is an example of what we need when the detail matters in Resident Evil. When it comes to the facial animations, the way the characters look and present themselves, this is definitive. This is exactly what is required moving forward with Resident Evil, and the more we move forward, the more hyped I am. Because while Capcom has once fallen before, this is no longer a shadow that they have to endure. This is the next reality for Resident Evil.
Story of my life.